Hello, my lovely friends. My name is Rue. How do you do? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing another autism chit chat video. If you're new to my channel, my name is Rue, as I said. I was diagnosed with autism in October of 2021. Sometimes on my channel I do autism specific chatty rambly videos because you guys seem to enjoy them, and it also kind of helps me sort of sort out stuff in my head, so it's beneficial for both of us. So like I talk about certain topics and like my experiences, and then I'll also do like a trigger while we're chatting because it is ASMR. So but today I wanted to talk about animals, which maybe seems a little random, but I feel like I've come across a lot of autistic people who feel the same way about animals that I do. Like they are good with them, they're easier to connect with, and that sort of thing. So I wanted to talk about my experience with this topic. So that's what we're gonna chat about today. So first of all, if you're unaware, autistic people tend to have very strong interests, which are usually called special interests. And so my first special interests when I was a kid were animal related. Obviously, of course. So like when I was really, really, really little, I was like very much into like dogs and cats, like of course. And like I knew all the dog breeds. Like we would like go to the library and I'd go to the dog section and like read all the books about dogs and stuff. And it was funny because when I was a kid, I thought everyone like knew all these things about animals too. And I would be so surprised when like people wouldn't know what a dog breed was, like, because it was just like common sense to me, because I was like so into it. And I was also like very into like dog training. So like we got our first dog when I was, I don't know, I was older, but I was the one who trained him to do like all those tricks and walk on a leash and all this stuff, because I was just like super into it. And I was good at it. Like I read animal body language very well. It seems like better than most people. So I'd say like dogs and cats when I was very little were like probably the most prominent interest. I don't have very good memory of my childhood, but I know I was very much into dogs and cats, and like I would we would get magazines, like cat magazines, and I would go through them and I would like constantly be like, Mom, come look at this cat, it's so cute. And she's like, oh yeah, there's another cat, like but yeah. And then I got a little older, and the first really, really, really big, strong special interest that I can remember was pet rats. Which like some people might think is weird, but they're really, really cool animals, so do not judge them. So I would like literally come from school and hop on these forums that were for pet rats, and I would do all this research and like literally be like taking notes about different topics like housing and toys and food and all the stuff. And I would just have notes of like rat care stuff, like and I would be so excited to come home and like read the forums and research and like all this stuff. And that was like a very common theme throughout my youth, I would be very obsessed with a topic, and like I would often find a forum. Like forums don't really exist anymore. I mean, I think they do, but not like the way they did when the internet was newer. So there was like a forum for everything. And like rats weren't the only thing only animal I was interested in. I would like cycle through different animal interests and research on them and be like, Mom, I need this animal. And we had a lot of animals when I was a kid. Like I would hound my mom until she would like give in. But like the strongest interest was definitely rats. And then as I became a little bit older, a teenager, I got into horses, and that's a big one. My grandparents had this young colt, and they had got him when he was about 6 months old. And so when he reached the age where you start training and riding, I got to start riding. So I like started riding at a barn, and like was utterly obsessed ever since. And so horses were a big interest in my life, and like up until I would say a few years ago, like was all consuming. Unfortunately, horses are very expensive, and yeah, it's not a cheap hobby. But I still have my horse, the little colt. He's oh gosh, I think he turns, oh my gosh, is he 20? He might be 20 this year. That's crazy. So he's been with me a long time. I'll put a picture here. How about that? Anyways, so I was utterly obsessed with horses, and there have been like multiple times where trainers have told me, you have a natural seat, which is like you ride naturally. And like, I don't know. I don't believe people when they compliment me sometimes, or at least I didn't. But anyways, like after a certain number of people had told me that, I was like, well, maybe it's true. But yeah, it kind of, horse riding, horse training is something that kind of came naturally to me. But like the problem with that is I couldn't explain to other people what I was doing or why I was doing it. And if you want to go into horses, like you have to be able to teach people how to ride and how to train and all that stuff. So, and then combine that with my difficulties with communication and socializing. Like, unfortunately, like a career in horses was not gonna happen. I tried for many years, but I realized eventually that like I could not be a horse trainer because I cannot train people. I can train horses, I just can't train people. And that's just like something that comes with the job. You have to be able to teach people. But yeah, like I knew what to do naturally, but I couldn't explain it to you really. Like, so yeah, I've always been pretty naturally in tune with animals, and like I can read their body language. Animals are just much easier to understand for me. Like, they are very straightforward. Like, I find their body language very easy to read, but it was very surprising to me when I learned that was not something that everyone could do. Like, the videos on the internet where there's like a cute animal, but it's like the animal is clearly showing that it's distressed, and I'm like, can you not see that? Like, so the internet taught me that like not everyone can read animal body language very well, even though it feels like really obvious to me. Apparently it's not. So But yeah, I like animals, and I find them very easy to connect with because they're very straightforward with what they want. Like, they're not going to manipulate you. They're not going to have ulterior motives. They just, what they want. Like, they want you to feed them, or they want you to pet them, or whatever, they want you to leave them alone. So, like, I find that to be very good. Like, I don't have to guess what they want. I know what they want. And it's very clear. And also, they don't talk, which is great, because I don't have to worry about having a conversation with them. We're just chilling out together, So I generally prefer the company of animals to people. They're just much more comfortable to be around and just easier to understand. Like, yeah, I don't know. People are so much more complicated. Like, they're not always direct. They're very complex. And animals, I feel like, are much more straightforward, much more easy to understand. So, yeah, they're easier to be around for me. And, like, for example, I hike a lot. And, when you're out in the woods, there tends to be wild animals. So it's funny because I've come across all kinds of animals, and I never feel scared when I see an animal. In fact, I'm usually excited. Because I don't know, I just like seeing them. But and then when I come across another person on the trail, that's when I start to get stressed. And yeah, I've never felt fear from any animal I've encountered out on the trails. And we've come across black bears, and there's snakes and stuff like that. But, like, to me, they're not scary because I know what they want. I know I can read their body language. They're not interested in me. They just want to go out and do their animal things in the woods. Like, when they want to be left alone and respected. So, yeah, I've never felt, like, threatened by an animal or had any animal encounters that are scary. So I much prefer to come across, like, a black bear than a person. Like, because, like, black bears they're not really dangerous. Like, if you look up how many people have been attacked by black bears, like, it's not very many, and they would be, like, very I'm sure there's a reason, So I don't feel fear when I come across animals on the trail, but in contrast, I am often afraid of people on the trail. Like, sometimes I do hike alone. I try to hike in, areas I know, and, like, maybe there's a lot of people there, so they're a little safer. But, every now and again, when you're by yourself, you come across another person by yourself. And that's the scary part to me, because I can't read another human very well, and, like, I don't know what their intentions are. Like, they're probably just out here enjoying the trail, but how do I know? Like, people, like, I'm more likely to be hurt by another person than I am by an animal, so, yeah. And then, of course, there's, like, the, like, how do I react to them when they walk by? Like, do I need to acknowledge them? Like, do you make eye contact? Or, like, there's all of these things running through my head when there's another person passing me. So, yeah, much prefer to come across a bear or a snake or whatever. Like, people are much scarier, much more likely to be hurt by a human than a wild animal. So, but, like, I'm also just much more comfortable, like, out in nature with animals than I am in a man-made environment. Like, being in a store with a bunch of people, or a public event that's like supposed to be fun, but you're like surrounded by a lot of people, like that's stressful to me. And being out in the woods with a bunch of critters, that's like natural to me. Like that feels much more calming, like much better. Like I'm just much more at ease out in the woods, which with a bunch of critters, you know. Like all of these man-made things just don't work well for me. Like I don't know. It's like I need to go back to nature. Like all these man-made things are just not. They don't vibe with me. And then I would say that I also feel a lot of empathy for animals, perhaps more than most people, and not just like the cute fuzzy ones. Like any living creature, like I can find something to love about them. Like even like the little creepy crawly spiders and bugs, and I don't know, I just love them all. Like for example, well, you know, every now and again we'll get like stink bugs or spiders or whatever in our house, and like we don't kill them, really. We don't ever kill them. We usually name them and they just like hang out in the house. Like if it's like an critter that we don't want in the house, we'll just move it outside. But I don't like killing little creatures. It's like, it's not their fault. They're a tiny little bug or whatever. Like they deserve to live as much as I do. So yeah. I also like to like in the summer I'll let our grass grow a little longer so that like the little critters and things can enjoy the long grass for a little longer. And like in the fall we just leave our leaves. Like little bugs and things like to hang out in there. So I don't follow these silly social things that you're supposed to do, really. I mean, I do to a certain extent because you like have to, but like if I can do something to help my little critter friends, then I will do it. Because like I don't care if my grass is long or like there's leaves in the yard. Like why would I care? So like I don't know, I like making the environment more pleasing, more beneficial to other living things, because like, you know, they live here too. We also maybe this isn't a good thing, but we also throw our scraps out for the neighborhood critters, like vegetable scraps or like old bread or something. They love bread. Like I know it's probably not good for them, but they love it. We have a skunk I know that visits quite often. I've seen a possum. We have deer, a lot of deer. We actually saw a fox once. That was crazy. But yeah, like I don't know. I don't want to throw food out if something can eat it, you know. So we often leave offerings for the outdoor critters. So again, I don't know if that's good for them or not, but like they like it, you know. And I feel like it's like I'm not wasting the food, someone's eating it, so I feel like it's a net positive. And then like, since I'm talking about food, another thing I feel like this is maybe more common with autistic people is that we some of us will not want to eat animal products because of, I mean, a lot of reasons, but like, you know, we don't want to hurt our animal buddies. And so I'm not like fully vegan, fully vegetarian. I just want to like put that out there. Like I'm not perfect. But I think it was 2021 I really cut back on meat. I think like the entire month of January I didn't eat any animal products. But so the problem with that, being autistic and trying to be vegan-ish, is that there aren't a lot of foods. You know, you're limiting your foods, and perhaps you only have certain foods that you like to eat, or you don't have a lot of energy to make fancy foods, or maybe you just can't afford certain foods. So my thing is I just try to do the best that I can in that current moment, which like most of the time I eat like a vegan diet. Most of the time, not always. For example, like if we get like takeout or go to someone else's houses, it's just like if you try to eat vegan, it like limits what you eat a lot. So those situations are a lot harder. I do my best, but like I will put my body's needs first. So like if I won't be able to get a nourishing meal without animal products, then I will eat the animal products, if that makes sense. If I have an option where I can be nourished without animal products, I will always choose that. It's just I need to take care of my body first. And I'm not like necessarily against eating animal products. It's just a very complicated, complex thing. Like, I guess I really love animals, and I want to do the best that I can by them. So I just do my best. Like, I feel like that's better than nothing, you know? And like, I want to have like respect for the animals I do eat. Like, I don't want to just mindlessly consume them, and like, because I think other cultures consume animals more ethically and like more respectfully than perhaps like American culture, where it's just like, I don't know, nobody cares. So like, I think there's like a balance of like having respect for the animals that I do eat, and choosing alternatives when I can. So that's kind of how I eat. So it's something I thought about, and I'm, always trying to do better. And I think there are other autistic people I've talked to who are the same. So, because we just think about things very deeply, and we want to do the right thing, and so yeah. I love like other little critters and things, so I try to be as kind as possible, so yeah. I think that's kind of all I wanted to talk about, which I feel like, did I do a good job? I don't know. I guess the main takeaway is that humans make me feel uncomfy most of the time. And animals I feel very calm around, and like I understand them a lot better, and they make a lot more sense. Like, they're just easy to read. Their body language is very clear, and it's just always something that's come quite naturally for me. Regardless of the species, I just feel like they communicate quite clearly. But apparently that's not something that every person sees. But, I love animals a lot. I always have, I always will. And I feel like it relates to being autistic for me, because I don't know, I just think it does. Like, it's just, I'm more in tune with like animals than most people, it seems like. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Do you also feel this way? Maybe you don't. I did a poll on my channel, and I think it was like 71% of you guys said that you feel more connected with animals than people. So I'm clearly not alone. But yeah, I love my little fuzzy friends and non-fuzzy friends, you know. I think it also stems from partially from my like love of science too, because like I just like learning about other critters and like how we're related, you know. I just think it's really cool. Anyways, so I guess I will end the video here. I feel like I could have talked about more, but I guess I covered the basics. Anyways, let me know what you think. Thanks as always for coming to my channel and hanging out for a bit. I love you guys. Yeah, I hope you're having a great day, and I will see you in my next video. Okay?